We had gleaned whispers of the audacious thrust into Russia's colossal maw, while still ensconced amid Crete's jagged crags and olive-shrouded valleys. The island's sun-baked stones, still warm under our boots from the recent fray. Even then, as the maps unfurled in our dusty briefings, we contemplated that boundless expanse. The endless steppes rolling like a frozen ocean, taiga forests cloaked in perpetual twilight. With a knot of trepidation twisting in our guts, a primal unease at the sheer scale of the beast we were about to prod. Now thrust upon us was the war on twin fronts that our Führer had so vehemently sworn to evade, a strategic hydra rearing its heads in defiance of his iron doctrines. It didn't sit right in our bones, this bifurcated bloodletting, stirring a distinct malaise that clung like damp fog to our spirits, as if the gods of war themselves recoiled at the imbalance. Before our baptismal plunge into Russia's glacial embrace, we endured a rigorous interlude at the sprawling Grafenwöhr troop training grounds, those vast barrens of mud and mock battlefields scarred by generations of maneuvers, where the battalion, hollowed by Crete's merciless toll, its ranks thinned like a scythe's harvest, swelled with fresh infusions of replacements, boisterous young fellows, grand lads cut from the same resilient cloth as ourselves, their eyes wide with the fire of unscarred ambition, cheeks flushed from basic depots drills. Naturally enough, these greenhorns brimmed with awe for us, the salt-crusted veterans, our chests emblazoned with ribbons that caught the sun like captured medals of valor, armbands embroidered with the stark legend, 1. Fallschirmjäger Regiment Crete, proclaiming our saga to all who gazed. To them, we were mythic figures, though we ourselves were mere striplings of 20 or 22, our beards barely shadowing jaws honed by hardship. Another grueling epoch of training ensued, a forge of sweat and sinew primarily amid the undulating countryside's deceptive idol, rolling hills dotted with wildflowers that belied the bayonet lunges and live-fire gauntlets. Yet I scarce lingered to its bitter dregs, for fate's capricious hand whisked me abruptly to the officer aspirant crucible at Dresden Klotz's austere academy, its gray barracks echoing with the stamp of polished heels and the barked cadences of drill instructors. It was a surreal transmutation. One dawn I toiled as a lowly Gefreiter, Oberleutnant Schuller's shadow looming with threats of the Stafflager's penal hells, his voice a whip-crack promising chains for the undisciplined. The next, I stood as an officer and warder, epaulets whispering of command, the war's whirlwind reshaping destinies like clay in a potter's furious grip. On the course, theory's tomes proved my undoing, arcane treatises on logistics and lore that tangled my tongue like barbed wire, and I nigh skewered my own earlobe in the ritual clumsiness of saber flourishes, the steel whispering perilously close amid the parade ground's dust devils. But tactics theater was my realm, maps unrolled like prophecies under my fingers, and my operational dispatches, ink-smeared missives dissecting feints and flanks, earned nods of acclaim, deemed gems of tactical acuity by the cadre's stern appraisers. In December 1941, at the tender cusp of 21, I ascended to lieutenant's rank. Second lieutenant's silver bar a talisman pinned with trembling pride, amid the winter's first chill winds that presage tempests yet unborn. December 18th, the hourglass spills at last were primed for the fray anew, equipment scoured to gleaming perfection under lantern glow, every buckle burnished, every strap supple. Readiness thrums in our veins like a suppressed drumroll, yet the veil of destination clings opaque, a riddle wrapped in furung-stabbed secrecy. Revelation dawns piecemeal the morrow. My summons to Berlin's labyrinthine quartermaster depots, tasked with procuring shoulder straps for tropical kit. Khaki twill whispering of sun-scorched sands, ignites speculation's blaze, consensus crackles that we're bound for Africa's crucible, bolstering Rommel's desert foxes amid the dunes' golden haze. Elation erupts in a frenzy of foraging. Sunglasses scavenge from footlockers like talismans against the equatorial glare, pith helmets dusted off with boyish glee. We fancy ourselves already ensconced in Tobruk's sweltering siege or El Alamine's artillery choir, the mirage a tonic to our stalled souls. Much raucous laughter cascades through the barracks, songs of the Africa Corps' belted horse, evoking Irwin's panzers, churning the Sahara's silk. That eve, disillusionment descends like a sodden curtain. Operation South sunlit script scrapped, supplanted by Northeast frostfang folio. A pivot that chills the blood, yet in the end, indifference steals us. The crux is combat's clarion, the siren song of strife resuming its addictive aria. Preparations invert in a whirlwind of warrants. Tropic linens yanked back to crates, supplanted by winter's white-shrouded arsenal. A mad medley from double-knee pads cinched against the crawl to footcloths swaddling toes in woolen warmth. Belly warmers girding the core like ancient laricas. Overcoats heavy as chainmail. Fur mantles pilfered from Siberian specters. Lieutenant Ten-Shirt transfers to our fold. An exemplary officer, seasoned beyond my years with a gaze like weathered oak. His arrival, a quiet infusion of gravitas. Whispers herald our exodus on Christmas Eve of all ironies, and I, fated as ever, down the loading officer's yoke once more. Amid the afternoon's relentless downpour, sheets of rain lashing like vengeful lashes, we heave crates into lorries' maws then, as twilight bleeds into the deluge, marshal them into the train's iron belly at Gardalagan's sodden sidings. Fiancés, kin, and comrades' shadows cluster patient under umbrellas' frail halos. Faces etched with the ache of severance. Partings rend like poorly mended seams. Tears mingling with the torrent on cheeks, wind-lashed and raw. At length my Fiat rings, loaded and locked. The whistle shrills, and we lurch into the gloom. Wheels grinding gravel like teeth on bone. Whither this spectral sector? How many phantoms will haunt the roster's roll call? Names crossed in crimson ink. Yuletide's glow flickers faint, each soul adrift in introspection's undertow. Only when contraband bottles circulate, their amber fire chasing the chill, does levity thaw the frost. Libations flow like Lethe's bomb, toast slurred to absent firesides. Omitted in haste, my ascension wed me to first company. A bittersweet severance for my anvil-forged kin, Scherer, Lojewski, Mickey, that platoon tempered in Crete's crucible. Yet battalion's bond endures, a lifeline across the leagues. For now, my birth mates Oberleutnant Router. His tale's a tapestry of hunts and high commands. And Inspector Finner, a quartermaster's ghost with ledgers for lore. We serpent through Berlin's blackout-veiled boulevards, Posen's Polish Paul, then ford the Vistula's sullen swell to Warsaw's war-weary husk. Just as en route to Hellas' sunlit strands, we traversed antiquity's echoes. Capitals crumbling under conquest's boot, rivers intoned in schoolboys rote like sacred litanies. Yet aw's absence aches. Our lodestar is Russia's raw maw, objective etched in orders. War's whirlwind, victory's vice. Candidly, the clock crawls tortuously. 9 months interregnum, a thirst unslaked. No realm on this orb magnetizes like Bolshevik Russia's enigma. Its vast voids a vortex, drawing our dauntless drift. From Warsaw's warped rails, we plunge into the bear's den proper. Scant scars scar the vista from our rattling vantage. Wire webs snarled like Medusa's tresses, barricades of blackened beams. Observation spires stabbing the sky like skeletal fingers along the frontier's frayed fringe. Profound schisms rend the agrarian tapestry. Germania's verdant mosaic. Plowed expanses checkered like a lord's domain. Villages quaint with ruddy brick hearths and flower-fringed cottages. Yields to Poland's pallid pall, then Russia's relentless monotone. Fields fused into featureless flats, a drab drumskin unbroken. Hamlets? Nay, huddles of hovels, shanties of splintered slats, each a clone of squalor. Roofs sagging under thatch's ragged shroud. Dreary desolation drapes the gaze, a wretched watercolor of want that sours the soul. We halt protracted near Białystok bleak buffer, engines wheezing as we swap iron steeds, a secondary depot, rusky ingenuity's ghost. Vast switchyards sprawling like a spider's web, control kiosks squat and stern. Leftward looms an airfield, hangars hulking as our own. Now Luftwaffe's lair with me, 109s, prowling the perimeter like leashed hounds. Siding Serpent's brim with bounty trains, timber toted in towering stacks. Coal cars caked in carbon's kiss, crates of cogs and cartridges churning frontward. Return runs yawning void. agony's apparition halts adjacent. A wounded wagon, mundane freight hauler repurposed for ruin, straw-strewn floors sodden with serum, bandaged torsos twisted in torment, dressings dank and deficient, medics meager as mercy's echo, no furnace to fend the freeze. Thus the legions limp homeward, a tableau of tragedy underscoring the East's elemental enmity. A railman, grizzled as the gauges he guards, enlightens. Thrice 1,000 shattered souls shuttle through daily. Our Paragon ambulance expresses, overwhelmed like dikes in deluge. Silence descends leaden, introspection's iron. A soldier's sepulchre in the storm's heart outshines this cattle car cavalry. A bayonet's bite in battle's blaze. Vigor's vigil now veers to our virile novices, green guardians kneading morale's marrow. We summon scalding suds from the locomotive's lair, ablutions amid awkward semaphore, since Slav tongues tangle save the stoker and driver. Their gestures a gestalt of goodwill. The behemoth bellows onward, vanguard van and tail trucks tenanted by Tommy gun sentinels, a bulwark against bushwhackers' bite. Snow shroud thins to scant veils, woodlands weaving periodic webs along the way. Rail huts hunker at intervals, manned by Teutonic track wardens. Their solitary vigil a vigil of valor. Rifles racked against raiders' rush. Salutes snap crisp as we streak past, a fraternal flash that warms the marrow. Out here in exile's ether, destiny's decree dawns. German gazes lock as kins, homeland's hearth haloed in every helm. At hearthside, indifference is chill. Strangers stride sightless. Bond's blooming soul at rally's roar or marches measure tread. Rails rattle relentless to Minsk's modest mound, relatively unscathed facade, yet drifts drape devastation's debris, a bridal veil on a beggar's bones. Hours hiatus heralds a Soldatenheim, ex-Rusky hostelry, facade flamboyant as a Tsar's folly, innards indifferent, pews plain as prison planks, walls wan without warmth. Yet Red Cross repast ravishes. Roast goose golden and crisp, skin crackling like autumn leaves, carved by comely caregivers in crimson-trimmed tunics and Cossack boots' supple sway. Lassies lithe and lonely in foe's fold. Homeland's horizon a heartache away. Resumption reveals rusky remnants. Scout engines shattered like discarded toys, equipage eviscerated in heaps. Rusted hulks heaped like harvest's harvest of hate. Inspector Finner fiddles furiously, fashioning a forge from flotsam. Ersatz espresso steam sublime, a sacrament shared in sudsy mugs. Chatter cascades convivial, bottles burled buoyant. Commissary cornucopia cushions the crawl. Inebriation's intent inverts. Swill to summon slumber's shroud. Oblivion's opiate against the rattle's rigor. Router and I roam recurrent to the Unteroffizier den, where scat stakes soar skyward. Rum's rivers fueling folly's flood. Wagers waxing wild as winter winds. Router relishes rifling my reserves, his youngest lieutenant's largesse a lark. Penury's pinch prompts a ploy with platoonmates. One shadows the shuffler, nods nudging my bids. Bounty boomerangs, my coffers cascade. Router routed in rueful retreat. Smolensk's siding seals the stratagem's share. Equitable exile from the exchequer. Sergeant's sanctuary aloft in the luggage loft. His snores a symphony, succumbs to smoke siege. Pipes puffed, fags fumed till he flees the fog like a fox from flames, patient perch for our eventual ease. Another banal ballad in the Baroque's balladry. Wagon's whimsy yields to palate's pilfered, wedged twixt seats plush, slumber's lap of luxury. A revelation's regret for tardy thought. Chugging chronicle crosses Berezina's brooding breast, Napoleon's nemesis, now our neutral neighbor. To Orsha's ornate ostium, Tsarist triumph in transit's tumult. Terminus a titan. Hall a hollowed him of hurly-burly, thronged with furlough phantoms frantic to frontward fold. Rusky rabble recurs. Quilted quasars in one-piece warmth. Ferushenka's framing faces florid and full. Felt Valenki's thudding on flagstones. Factory fresh phalanx, puffy and portly. Stature sturdy as step oaks. No emaciations etch. Contrariwise corpulence's cushion. Town's Tantalus tempts not. Finner and I forge to fringe hovels. Trailing 2 water wenches with yoke and buckets brimming from spring's crystalline kiss. Their trepidation taints the threshold. Stoop to ingress the Izba's intimacy. Rightward goat garth gagging with ammonia's assault. Family facade fracturing fear. An elder's etched frailty. Patriarch's 30s vigor veined with vice. Maiden's modesty mantled in shawls. Trio tots trembling in threadbare. Bivouacked in bisected barrenness. 2 chambers cramped as coffins. Scant winter wool to ward the white. Sociability stirs with smoke sacrament. Our intent innocuous as inspection. German's ghost graces their gloss. Self-styled white Ruthenians. Lexicon laced with Luther's legacy. Diminutive Yuletide fur flickers. Fate's frail flame flickering against godless gales. Furnishings forlorn. Fur trunks spiked in soil. Sacking shrouds segmenting space. Behemoth burrs Wicca, stove squatting sovereign. Tokens tendered, lozenges, laces, thaw the chill. Egress etched in empathy's ember. Smolensk spires summon subsequent. Teuton titans trundling toilsome. Luftwaffe's lone eaglet etching azure arcs. Arterial avenues artery with armor's artery. Vermachny's vehicles veering vanguard and van. Scat's sacrament sustains the stasis. Shock's shadow shatters serenity. Stabselmeister Rufflenfeld rebel, the technic sergeant, succumbs nocturnal to nausea's noose, asphyxiated in slumber snare. Deliberation darkens. Dispatch to dependence. Heroes hood fire for patria's pyre. Rot's residue rankles the resolve. Smolensk's sylvan seat, hills haloing like a tsar's tiara. Minarets manifold mimicking Muscovy's majesty. Third Rome's relic resonant. Rises ruined, rubble rampant. Ares aria arcing afar. Jew 88's juggling juggernauts. Advance anthem. Sobekino sanctum, infamous from summer's scorched earth symphony. Cathedral's cupola crowning the corniche. Embankments edge etched with embrasures. Panzers perched as predatory perches. 3 p.m. platform pause. Packs palmed buoyant. Liaison's fur-clad form furrowing with fret. We vanguard unit. Regiment's rearguard rendezvous in repose. Disembarkation's dusk dance. Shadows slink silent. Sinews straining under satchels sag. Company columns carve cityward. Billet a banker's husk. Vast vault unvented. Frigid as a felon cell. One night's necessity. Officers' ostentation opposite. Hotel Molotov's monumental mockery. Facade flamboyant as a commissar's conceit. Architect's abortion within. Corridors crabbed as crab pots. Cubicles cramped like convict crates. Entrances, eclat evaporates. Marble's majestic sweep souring to squalor. Stovepipes spearing sashes like defiant lances. Interiors, improvised infernos. Waters whisper wan, baths barren, latrines loathsome. Prefer winter's whip to their fetid fog. Exodus to Esplanade's ersatz oasis. Nurse's nook, recreation's refuge, recollection rents. Sylvester summons. Last libations liberated. Tenshirt's tour to troops tabernacle. Imbibing, indefatigable. Inebriation's idol. Order's oracle. Viazma's vortex vaults. Vanguard, trio armored autos. Avant-garde abodes in quartet hamlets north of the artery. Avlova's thatch, Alashatina's alleys. Markova's manors, St. Venus spires. Battalions bulk by air. Ambushed in ether? Scheme askews. Stratagem stumble, yet steal ourselves seaward. Swaddled in swathes against the abyss. 40 below bite a blade's breath. Straw swaddling sauls in slay's sanctuary. Firmament flawless. Crystalline canopy crowning the convoy. Via's vein. Vehicular viscera. Tanks torsed in torment. Lorries lacerated like leviathans beached. Carts charred as pyres. Avenues apocalypse, arboreal absent. Halts harrow habitual. Hearths huddled hasty. Despite diligence. Fan and junker. Feldwebelgerts frost-fanged in phalanges. Toes tumified like tubers. Quaternity hours, quandary crests. Via's veer to Viazma's vestige. Bifurcated boulevard. Not borough proper. Thoroughfares thrumming with traffic's torrent. Infantry's inexorable influx. Signpost saga of sectors and staffs. Traffic tyrants in thickets of thrum and felt. Marketplace's melee mutates to mausoleum. Motors melt to margins. Eyes eclipsed earthward. Zenith's zircon zephyr. A singleton silver speck spiraling. Bombs baptism, baptizing berg, 150 meters off. Domiciles, dissolving in dust. Flak's fanfare flays the firmament. Foe flees frantic. Führer's form found. Fiat fluxed. Rajav's rupture reels us rearward. Rusky rift, rending the rampart. Fire brigade's fate, not Tiflis tumble. 80 kilometers Moscow's maw. Inspector Bergerfeld's beacon by rail. Linger limbo-like, then lunge. Snow's Serac slows to snail's pace. Debino's domain. Fighter fields flock. FW-190s feathering the firmament. Nocturne in nook with occupants' ostentation. Cozy cloister contrived. Creature comfort's cousin from commissary's cache. Gertz grounded in Gishka. Gangrenous gams a grim grace. Perhaps perdition's pardon. Subsov suburb, 30 kilometers front's fringe. Fuel's famine fells us fleeting. Aerial atrocities audience. Ivan's insolence incarnate. Rodis rampaging rampant. Our aces absent as apparitions. Airfield's artery arcs vulgar's veil. Battalion's brethren. Yester's Jew juggernaut. Today's trench-tempered. Toll 12 in Tracer's tango. Sky's shroud imperative for ingress unmolested. Respite's reluctance relents. Oniric interlude. Mob's magnetic. Petrol's potion primes the prow. Storitz's shadowland. Nocturnal navigation's nightmare. Lamp's luminescence lethal. In Leviathan's lee. Piltsev's peril pinches. Proximity's peril. Malikova's maw harboring 18th and 58th's nerve nexus. Regimental roost. Security's salute seals the sanctum. 3 km from Frey's forefront. Trescaw's tabernacle. Fallschirm MG miners meld with Mittlerer Heeresgruppe, 16th Infantry's aegis. Flanks 18th Dexter. 58th Sinister. Adjuncts, 2. Flak MG Company, 10. FSCHJG Sturmrecht, 7. Eisenbahn Pioneer Company. Battalion's bastion bears the bulletin. Company's christening in Kopp's clearing crusade. Sobekino seizure. Burgerfreiter Sommer slain in skirmishes sting. Oberfeldwebel Scherer, sundered in saber snarl. Upper and underarm ululated. Feldwebel Sattel scalped in grace. All evacuated to Echelon's echo. Schul's sanctuary repurposed. 20-odd Frostfeld linger, phalanges phantom. Prostration's pole prevails till patrols Piper pipes. Infantry Unteroffizier. 1 a.m.'s apparition. Azimuth's the Odyssey through tundra's tapestry. Parka's pallor pristine. Gears gravitas, grinding the gate. Vista's verge vivid to 800 meters. Moonlight's mercury mirroring Ivan's impunity. Partisans phantoms, purported ubiquitous. Motorways Moscow meridian meanders. Forests fringed with fronds. Silence's shroud shawls the squad. Schmidt and Berghammer bowed beneath Burden's bend. Essentials emblem. Clearing's clarion. Barnes bulwarks. Infantry's aisle. Halts him, then him's halt. Thicket's throat throbs to village's veil. Cadaver's cornucopia. Rusky remnants rigid as rhyme. Rigor mortis rictus rigid. Battalion's bastion beckons. Hauptmann Vickert's vigor validates. Vector's veer vexing. Berghammer's baffling bolt baffles. Trio trudges. Obgefreiter Schmidt and I, Sobolev Sentinel? Serenity's snare snaps. Rifles rattle rends the repose. Prone plunges prudence. Absurdity's abyss. CP's crux 150 meters crest. Stasis. Sentries, sentinel slothful. Sentinel stirs. Handover's harbinger. Positions pilgrim perplexed. Hovel's haven harbors the horde. Portals push proffers no panoply. Phalanx phlegmatic. Fags fug fuming. Query's quirks the quorum. What whelp wanders hither? Rapport's right. Commander's class cursory. Smoke's subsidy swift. Their cash called. Assault's anatomy appalls. Position's perdition patent. Panoply pristine in peril's perch. Alarm's aria awaits Ivan's eruption. Lassitude's lash lulls me to ledge by Lars' lap. Slumber's siren snaring the senses. January 8th. Oberfeldwebel Lojewski limbs the locus. Platoon's palisade paramount. Cadre's caution commendable despite vigil's vice. Grocer's gun garrisons the vanguard. Granary's gloom a gunner's grotto. Uttermost right. Utterophysia's bastion, Bernsdorf's bulwark. MG Maestro's mastery. Leftward slow. CP's cradle. harassing hails haunt. Hinterlands hovels harbor uterophysia dwarix domain. 9 a.m. Ivan's eruption. Pax peel mortars menace. Mutes to murmur. Maneuvers mask manifest. Howitzers him hurls, heavies heavenward. Lulls lethargy lingers. Adversaries awe acknowledged. Paratroopers pedigree of prophylactic. Eve's embassy. Tenshirts tirade tallies the trap's travesty. Mousetraps maw malign. Grossall's gunner pescal parishes to Pan's backblast. Arms agony abrupt. 6 p.m. Battalion's behest. Recce's requiem leftward. Barnes bastion beckoned. Infantry's infusion my aegis. 8 p.m. Exodus. Lojuski's largesse. Dwarix drum. Ninha's nix on nests. Tracer's tapestry tints the thicket. Theatrical as torchlight tango. Infantry's incline inverts. My minion motors mid-meadow. Mausoleum's mystery. Camouflage's cloak or copse's call. Creep's caution. Safety sigh. SMG snarl. Silence's seal. Serendipity smile. Barnes blockade bolted. Backward brief. Leon Hart's lightning looms. Dawn's dominion decreed. Regiment's rendezvous rightward. Limbo's lash, my ministration. Dwarix drum doom Serafino. Charnagal's choir claims the cusp. 4 a.m. Gung's gallery gleans the geometry. Memories, mosaic mastered. FO's form follows. Heavy's herald, hollows him hymned. Third's throng thickens the trough. Riker's resolve, Shack's shadow. Assaults, Aurora 5 a.m. Artillery's absence aches. Glass's gaze gleans. MG's minion, tripod's trio. HMG's maw mirrors malice. Shachi's shadow scouts the shroud, vanished vanguard. Volley's vortex. Ivan's irate, rightward's rage rampant. Dawn's disclosure dooms the delay. Apex's apex aborted. Barrage's baptism. Shell shortfall, then surfeit. Village's viscera violated. Mortar's mosaic. Pax pestilence paramount. Ivan's inventory intimidates. Tubes torn trumps our tally. Furung stabs frugality, a fatal flaw. Discharges dawn 1,500 meters distant. Hollow's holocaust. Shell's symphony short or soaring. Dud's dudgeon dull. Third's thrust thwarts to Thatch's lee. One's orb obnubulates octet. Survivor's sprint a shadow play. Barnes bastion bears the ballet. Rush's rhythm. Rifle's readiness. Shachi specters, salvation shade. Wood's whisper, Rusky's rush. Reaps reprisals rain. Cataclysm's crack. Roof's ruin, Dwarix dirge. Phalange's phantasm. Tendons tether tenuous. Charnagal's cheek carved. Glut's gash gaping. Wagon's womb, a wry ward. Straw's swaddle soothes. Orderly's opiate orison. Friedel's fealty. MG's mantra gains the melee. Then monk's murmur. Sniper's kiss crowns the cranium. Youth's Yuletide quenched. Schultz's solitude summons. Descent's decree, relocation's requiem. Fireball's fury flares. Eyes eclipse an ember's agony. Slip's salvation. Shell's sequel scorches the snow. Schultz's succor swift. Packet's panacea, pressure's pledge. But triage's tide tugs. Arboreal aegis, crawl's crucifixion. Twig's tempest, snow's snare. Epithet's echo, as ordnance orbits. Idiocy's interlude. Prayer's plea? Nay, Providence's prior parsimony precludes petition. Perseverance's pulse propels. Triline's terminus. Subsevich's serenity. Mirth's mask masking the maim. He hauls the hurt to haven. Cadre's chorus crests. Demise's dirge dissolved. Delight's dawn in waves warmth. Triage's tumult. Talents tested, 20-odd tormented. Sledge's shadow shuttles septet severe. Morphea's mist muffles the melee. Morpheus maw merciful. 10 p.m. Postk's pale procession. May's benediction bomb. Volschlager's vice a votive of vice. Traverse's torment. Tandem's torment. Groan's ground bass, grinding the gears. Clearing's clasp a climax's cry. Frenzy's forge. Doc's duet, orderly's orchestra. Or Saw's serenade, Saw's symphony. Army's arc. Branches babble. Orbit's oracle, orbicular excision edict. Ivory's indictment, Demurrel's dart. Orderly's opulence, orients the orb. Leon Hart's litany. Pedals puncture, Sura S sundered. Comrades cataclysm. Tenshirt's torso torn. Viscera's verdict void. Battalions bleak Beilen. Bastions bulwark, paratroopers packed. Pride's paladin precludes recoil. Legends lore luminous. Kin's credence crested. Fire's phalanx fortifies the fray. Restlessness rigor relents. 1 a.m. Lori's Leviathan lugs the lacerated to Rajav's roost. Vigors vile vivifies. Via's vein vaults. 2 cm's sentinel streak. Hours haze, hospital's horizon. Ingress inhibition. Scalpel's shadow spurned. Unto Raw-Vizier and Gunner Gambit to grass strip. Infantry's infirmary. Rags ragged regiment. Phalanges phantom parade. Jews jubilee juggernauts to Smolensk sprawl. Tari's torment. 3 p.m. Posenbound pigeon. Army inspector's aegis. Paratroopers phalanx. Foot soldiers fold. 400 meters mercy. Radio rookery's refuge. Boots banish. Blankets bastion. Limbs liturgy. Frictions fire fending the freeze. Quaternity's quandary crests. Ares anchor. Ambulance's artery to aggregate. Hospital's haven. Bandages bomb. Banter's barb. Gray's grace. Edifices eclat. Expanses embrace. Rations repast. Quartermaster's quirk. Cigarettes cascade. Sympathy's salve for spectre stare. Sharer's serendipity. Vienna's via. Train's travail. Unlike my upright. Unfit for foot. Transport's temptation tempts not. Midnight's menagerie, a memory's mire. Ares, a lure lingers. Paratrooper's providence. Effort-bound eaglet, envy's ember, guts gripe gnaws. Ninth. Posen's pigeon plucks us skyward. Reich's rubric restored. Posen's pale. Physician's philanthropy, nurse's nectar, caffeine's caress, worst's whisper. Infantry's idol after Muck's millennium. Sojourn's brevity. Billet's bomb, reports right. Homewards him. Posen Berlin Munchen's melody. Ecstasy's elixir. Delousing's deluge. Steam's scourge, soap's sacrament. Lysa's lair latent, chill chaperone. Midnight's mustang to Berlin's breast. Tavern's tableau. Tatter's terror, stubble's shadow. Hard case's halo. Host's homage. Venizon's vanquish, vast and vaporous. Posener's pathos, Pax profusion. Compassion's cascade. 2 a.m. Berlin's boulevard. 10 a.m. Munchen's maw. Leipzig's lonely. Compartment's cloister. Wounded's wingspan. 11 p.m. Otterbrun's owlet. Parka's phantom. Overcoat's opulence. Cigar's cash. Hooch's hoard. Capless cranium. Kerchief's crown. Key's kingdom unlocks. Clarion's call cautions the creek. Embraces eternity. Explications ebb. Bed's bosom beckons. Reverie's rift. Front's phantasmagoria. Comrades clarion. January 11th. Urban odyssey overflows oculists. Oberforing's orbit. Luftwaffe's lair to university's umbra. Nurse's nurture nocturnal. Scalpel sacrament. Lid's lethargy. Forceps finesse. Shard's excision. Slug's sundered sphere. Dense drama. Destiny's dodge. Astonishment's apocalypse averted. Oculus oracle. Unbelievable's underscore. 12th to February's finale. Oberforing's oasis. Quatorzane's quarantine. Gaze's gambit on gal's grace. Bandages blindfold banished. February 28th. Stendel's summons. 1st FSCHJG Ergenzungsrecht. Russia's reprise a rhapsody. Parachutes promise paramount. September 16th to October 3rd, 1942. 7th Flieger Division's fealty, mobile ministration, to reserve Heeresgruppe under Rundstedt's resolute Reichswehr. Westwarden. Invasion's incubus. Secondary Shanzen's sculpted seaward. British's bayonet baptism balked. MG Battalion melds with 7. FSCH8AV. Sans Souci Wilksdorf's verdant verge and Calvados coastal clasp. Normandy's nooks. Hedgerow's haven. Grafenwöhr's grind persists. Greenhorn's gauntlet. Transfers tide tantalizing. Pity's pang for polishing the pups. Yet holiday's halo. Harness hauling habitual. Loading's litany mine anew. September 17 TH's saga. Freight's frenzy. France's familiar fold. Biennial's bookmark. Klitzschneiger and Berkerfeld's birth brigade. Compartment's calculus. Lawn's lair with Finner's fiscal flair. Outing's opulence. Scat sanctum. Table's tilt. Berlin's blackout. Hanover's hush. Ruhr's rubble. Ruin's requiem. Rafters resurrection. Belgium's behemoth's belch industry. Namur's Nexus 4:40 p.m., Sedan Redux, Seine Serpentine, Versailles Vestige Vespertine. 1 a.m. Saint-Sevier's Sanctum, Disembarques Dash, Derailments Dud, Gears Groan. Merry Muster Matinal, Melodies Muster, Idle's Isle, Hill's Halo, Nable's Nod, Billet's Bounty. Bourgeois Benevolence, Bidon's Bite, Boudoir's Breadth, Bed's Breadth Bavaria's Echo, Schroeder's Sweep Swift. Nosh's Nexus, Modern's Menu or Normandy's Nosh, Pome's Plenitude, Butter's Bastion, Fruit's Fate, Peach's Plush, Grape's Goblet. France's Fiat. Godhead's Gourmandize. Spymaster Spore, Millions Muster on Albion's Azure, Tide's Tryst Tantalizing, Regiment's Rampart on Riviera, Reserve's Repose. Holland's Horizon or Hispania's Heat, Frey's Flare Flickering, Kit's Cash Coiled, Ours Him to Harness. Stasis Sting, Hedgerow's Hell, Bocage's Bite, Bitter's Bane. Butter's Bounty Boxed Homeward, Fireside's Flicker. Eve's Embers, Invasion's Illusion Inverted, Ost's Ostentation Ominous. October 1st, Pretzman's Procession, Tenshirt's Tale, Goethe's Gab French's Finesse. Afternoons are Prey, Veyer's Vendetta, Leonhardt's Lore, Root's Ruse, Canthak's Kit, Training's Tether Tomorrow. 13th Thrust, Yost's Yoke, Schroding's Shadow, Lawn's Lead, Landscape's Loveliness, Dusseldorf's Dirge, Kilometers Carnage, Conflagration's Chronicle, Station Shards, Kirch's Cinders, O Soman. Vengeance's Vow, Luftwaffe's Leviathan over London's Lace, Solace's Salve. Spiritual Scourge, Shit's Shadow, Bog's Bondage Perpetual. October 16th, Gardaligan's Garrison, Glean from Wild's War Weave. October 19th, Th's Ostward Oracle, Viazma Sura's Demidov Torapit's Tableau, Tire Brigade's Toil, Elite's Exile to Infantry's Inferno, Slaughter Script. Paratroopers Pride Peaked, Fire's Phalanx Fortifies. Fort's Flare, 3rd Company's Trinity, Krugerfrit, Charnagel, Fuchs, Vold. Fried's Filigree. November 7th, Zapso's Zephyrs, Solima's Serenity Sways a Squad, Goethe's Grit Grips the Second. Headquarters Hall hauls him hence, Aspirant's Aura. Heinz Helm at HQ's Helm. Septet's Suspense, Bunker's Birth, Sap's Saga, MG's Mask, Sledge's Silver Serpent for Sustenance. CP's Crowning, Sonitary Steam, Lawn's Legerdemain Lavish. Ski's Splendor Restored, Caselli's Cash, Train's Trove. Salvage's Salvos Sporadic, Isle's Eruption Idle. Laxity's Lash, Sentry's Slumber 3 Paces Peril, Death's Doorstep. Cape Horn's Complacency, Century's Siesta, Stoger's Snore Sunstruck. December's Dirge Decreed. Embrazier's Excess Excised, Improvisation's Imperative. Leaves Largesse Threefold, Revocation's Regret for Rot's Rankle, Yet Heart's Hunger Hallows. December 14th, Mortar's Maelstrom, Vege's Vault Vaulted. Langer's Limb Lanced, Beckett's Barrage Branded. Cadre's Caution Creaks, Compulsion's Crack. Mule's Mulishness Manifest. Position's Primacy Preached in Peril's Pulpit. NCO's Nadir, Unteroffizier's Umbrage. Umbrage's Undercurrent. Initiative's Atrophy, Edict's Empire. Solima's Steadfastness Salves. Mid-December's Mire, Slush's Scourge, Snow's Spite. Rusky's Recoil from Isle's Ice. Knee-Deep Quag, Cloudless Canopy. Azure's Agony, Frost's Fong 40 Below, Overcoat's Opulence. Valenki's Valor, Ear Flap's Aegis. Parka's Pall, Mortar's Ministration. Pax Peel Potent. Quiet's Quilt, Proxman's Progeny, Daughter's Dawn. Dampened Eye's Deluge, Bacchanal's Blaze. Hangover's Hammer. Postal's Panacea. Fiancé's Facsimile, Batman's Beach Bezel, Beauty's Bevel. Yuletide's Yoke, Snow's Splendor, Fairy's Filigree, Branches Bend, Crystal's Cake. Ski's Shelving, Sonitary Scald. Louse's Last Laugh, Lazarus Leap. Iceman's Emblem Eclipsed, Crin's Casualty, Train's Transfusion, Driver's Dash. Chaos's Crown, Christmas Clarion, Ornament's Opus, Lamp's Luminescence, Trey's Tracery, Frame's Filigree. Usual, Foil's Flicker from Fag's Facade. Ivan's Irk, Afternoon's Aimless Artillery, Commissar's Curse, Christ's Cribcraven, Doom Dud. Eve's Embassy, Detachment's Devoir, Gifts Gallery. Hope's luminary, Arcona's ash, commander's communion, carol's cadence, officer's opulence, spirit's sacrament, Havana's haze, men's mirror, sledge's surfeit, scrawl stack, parcel's profusion, bunker's balladry, veteran's vibrato, novice's nocturne, jubilation's juggernaut, delivery's dawn, festive's fire, inaugural infantryal, dawn's devoir, dispatch's dissection, parcel's plenitude, tabac's trove, biscuit's bliss, praline's paradise, chocolate's caress, worst's warp with windfalls, vintage's vow, epistle's echo eternal, solitude's sacrament, Ivan's irony, 12 cm's carol, 7.62 cigar, bunker's bulwark, humor's helm. December 26th, CP's conclave, red's requiem races rearward, pell-mell's panic, white's wizardry whips the welkin, SMG snarl, rifles riposte, pistols pop, peninsula's peril, ice's ingress, ratings rush, 20-odd Asiatic's audacity, century's somnolence, squad snap salvation, actions after image aborted, scourge's sweep, parka's pallor pursued ski scramble, cadavers count 10 to 15, 20 to 50 meters morgue, motionless mystery, minions mishap, wounds whisper, surrender's siren thrice told, silence's scorn, salvo's sanction, commissar's call, haversac's ord, rise roughage, millet's mush, Asiatic's amplitude, winter's weave, quiet's quiescence, 6:30-7:15's requiem, MG's minuet, mortar's menace, 7.62's trio thunders, horns hamstring hewn, artillery's answer, anathema's annulment, wire's woe, layer's lament, night's nip, New Year's nocturne, field's fugue fleeting, gun's gambit, dawn's dart, duo's discharge, disappearance's dodge, range's riddle, Rusky's rubric, Ost's oversight, battalion's baroness, Eve's elegy, annal's audit, yarn's yarn, year's yesteryear, casualties chronicle, punch's potion, grog's glow, silence's solemnity, midnight's mark, glass's gleam, New Year's nod, portent's puzzle,